your career, like you also need to think about like a sales process. Who are your champions? Who are the people in that room that are going to back you, support you, invest in you, and invest in the outcome of you?
Today's episode is with Conor Hyland, who's a regional sales director at ComplyAdvantage.
Like every organization I've ever been in will talk to you about trust. But like, what are you doing to really build trust? I believe you really set the clear expectations of people who are joining the team about what it is you want to go achieve, what your values are, what the goals are. Then we can all hold each other accountable. So for example,
How's it going, man?
good, feeling fresh,
Yeah.
ready for this workout.
What the viewers don't know, we've been on the bikes for around 10 minutes already, so we're already kind of warmed up.
Lucky I'm not sweating yet.
Well, no, I appreciate you coming on. We've had a couple of conversations before. I'm looking forward to digging into your background and everything around how you've got to where you are. Also just your ability in sales, leadership and everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I appreciate it, mate. Like when people ask you, do you want to go do a workout? It's quite unique, so definitely never say no to that opportunity.
Yeah. A workout and a podcast.
And a podcast, yeah, exactly. I go up early in the morning as well. So.
Yeah. Are you normally a morning person?
Yeah. I just think you can win the day very quickly by getting up and early, and you can get a lot of stuff done before people are waking up, you know.
So would you train on the morning, or would you like get work done on the morning?
No, I train. So I probably train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 a.m. Thursdays. I'm also, 6 a.m. Sorry, I'm doing like Monday, but I'm also training the evenings, some of those as well. So
morning workout is?
Morning workout is normally like functional, so traditional kind of gym stuff, weights like shoulders, biceps, then maybe finish off with a bike or a ski, and then evenings, jiu-jitsu, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday morning.
Yeah, well, we've just been speaking about this. I've started my jiu-jitsu journey too. How long have you done that for now?
I've been doing it 2.5 years, but as they say, you know, every day feels like day one. Quite humbling. Some days you come back and you're like, that was a great day, things started to click. Some days you come home and you're thinking, I don't even know if I'm on a basketball court or I'm in a jiu-jitsu. But that's the greatness of it, right? Like your mind's always having to think. It's human chess, as they call it.
So what have I got to come, I guess, with my journey of jiu-jitsu? Is there like a journey you went on of thinking you've got it and then getting humbled, or is that just happening all the time?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I think the journey is the journey, you know?
Yeah.
And I think some of the lessons I've gotten from it is like, don't chase the belts.
Yeah.
You know, some people go in there and they just want to get to blue belt. But actually, if you just go in and be super curious and open-minded and just be flowy with your body, the feedback is so quick, right? Because the feedback is you're getting choked out or you're getting your arm broken. So you learn quickly not to do that again, right? It's a bit like Pavlov's dog. So, but just have fun and enjoy it, man.
Well, it's one of my New Year's resolutions. I wouldn't even say a resolution, it's just a goal I've actually set a number. I want to go to 60 jiu-jitsu sessions this year.
Yeah, awesome.
That's just my goal. Have you got any fitness goals for this year?
I do. I think so last year in January, my team, they had a bit of a running goal. So they wanted to run 50 kilometers each, which was, I think, between 8 of us, like 400K.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really been running at that time at all. Like, I'm doing a bit of CrossFit, you like run 1K or 2K. So at the end of that month, as a team, we'd ran 1,000 kilometers. So I ran over like 120K in the month from start zero.
Oh.
Ran 2 half marathons.
As well as
within that month,
okay,
yeah. So, well, I think that just told me about like the power of a team, the power of like people inspiring you to push you. Everybody was on the Strava app. Oh my God, he's just ran 10K. Oh my God, they've ran 15. Now we're at like 500. Can we get to 1,000? Yeah. So this year, my goal is to take that up to run a marathon.
Nice.
And then also get back consistent with the jiu-jitsu as well.
Should we hop off, do some stretches?
Yeah.
So I put together a little dynamic warm-up. I'll go back to my PT days and I'll just give you some
nice
instructions. 10 of the press-up cobras or cobra press-ups. Then we'll just push our hips back and we'll do toe touches.
Glad you're counting.
4, 5. Then we'll do some ladders. Let's just step forward. I think they call it the world's greatest stretch.
Yes. This really shows up my hip flexibility.
Let's do some spinal. So you're not sore?
No, it's the legs on.
You're quite advanced compared to some of the other guests.
I don't say that.
So we're going to do deadlift, and then we'll superset that with barbell rollouts.
Yeah.
Then we'll do push press, just 4 sets of 8. No superset there. Then we'll do ring dips. That's the first superset with pull-ups. We'll go for 10-10.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do gorilla row. Have you done that before?
Yes, is that?
So the kettlebells.
Yeah.
Pull one at a time. Gorilla row superset with some bicep curls.
Cool.
Because we always love bicep curls. And we'll finish off with a WOD at the end, which is the assault bike, 9 calories, 12 burpees, and American kettlebell swings. 7 minutes AMRAP.
Let's go.
Gonna get sweaty. And then at the end, as everyone knows, you've got the 30-second max calorie ski test. We'll see how Conor gets with that. I'm expecting him to be number 1.
Stop setting expectations.
Cool.
Let me set the expectations.
Let's set the deadlift. Let's set the deadlifts up. When last time you did deadlift?
I've been doing a lot more like straight leg deadlifts
Okay.
rather than full deadlifts, but just because trying to work the hammies more, load into the quad even with my deadlifts, which is not ideal. I think put 5.
5s on each side, and I'll get 20s on here. I'm hoping my hip's fine. Anyway, before we go into deadlifts, I want to speak to you about your time in Dubai.
Yeah.
What drove the decision to move out there?
Really by chance. I'd left my master's. After my master's, I went into Microsoft, and then was working there for a year and applied for the graduate program.
Yeah.
And it was like a full assessment day. Didn't get it. It was like really sad about like how I showed up in that moment. But I took a lot of learnings around like how in big groups of people you need to be able to stand out from the crowd.
Yeah.
So applied for Enterprise Ireland, which is the Irish arms, the government, to help small to medium enterprises export to Middle East and North Africa. Went in there on the assessment day, started to bring people into the conversations.
Yeah.
And really tried to show like what it takes to be a leader in a room. And a few months later, so it was basically an opportunity to go 12 countries across the world. You don't know where you're going. They call you up and they're like, you're after getting the job and you're going to, and the pause, and you're like, where am I going to? You know, and they're like, you're going to Dubai. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy, you know? So I really wanted to go somewhere that was like very unique culture. There was China, South America, obviously Middle East, like they were kind of my top of my list, but I was like, yeah, really, really happy to go to Dubai.
Yeah. I'll just do some warm-up reps.
Yeah, go
then. Do you think there seems to be a lot of people moving to Dubai from the UK? Why do you think that is?
Look, I think like this is post-pandemic. We're seeing like this kind of new normal of where people want to go and travel and live more life, right? Like, and that's not just younger people, it's everybody.
Yeah.
Like, can't imagine how many people I've interviewed in the last few weeks who've either just come back from like 6 months of travel or they're going away for a year or two. And, you know, obviously like people say that, you know, if you want to change, a lot of the time you need to change your environment.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to Dubai to give themselves an opportunity to experience new things, but also maybe like start afresh. And like, I know there's different perceptions of Dubai, but some of my best friends today are from Dubai. The local people are amazing. They're so hospitable. They look after you. It's safe. And like, you can make good money if you work hard.
Yeah.
Low
You don't pay any
taxes.
tax.
Yeah. So, yeah. You're keeping me honest.
I think it was only meant to be 8 reps.
I always have to do 2 more just in case I wasn't counting properly. Which either means I've done 6 or 12. I see in like some of these gyms now they have digital counters.
Yeah. Well, I went to watch High Rocks at the weekend, and on the wall ball, every time the ball touched the
Oh, wow.
target, it went 1 rep, 2 rep, 3 rep. But if he was below the target, it wouldn't.
Wow.
So if I missed, I don't know, the top pin or the top screw, then it wouldn't add a rep.
Yeah.
So my mate was doing it and he had like 27 no reps.
Wow. That's disheartening.
Tell me about it.
But I need it because, like, when you're working, it's hard to remember to count at the same time.
Yeah. Especially in like a CrossFit workout as well. Feels all right. You ever had a PT?
I've had 1 or 2. I've trained lots of different like group stuff over the years, which means you kind of learn a bit through osmosis and also through the people in the room, whether that was calisthenics, CrossFit. Obviously, you need to do like the entry, like 10 sessions before you get into the class.
Yeah.
Then also with jiu-jitsu, you know, all of those have like similar communities where people are all very welcoming. They bring you in, they show you, they correct your form like in a nice way.
Yeah.
So I've never really felt the need to have just PT one-on-one, but I'm not against it because I think there's like a lot to be gained, especially if you're new and you want to learn form stuff.
Are we staying?
We done?
We're staying at 100?
You want to go up again? 105?
Let's try.
110?
Yeah, let's try. Feeling confident.
Yeah, well, don't transfer that confidence onto me. Rising tide lifts all ships, but...
Yeah, I think the training in settings like that is good. Like, you see a lot of people doing Barry's or F45, CrossFit. People say they're expensive because you pay a lot of money, but you're paying for the coach as well, aren't you? Because if you go to a normal gym, yes, there's people around you, but no one's correcting your form.
Yeah.
But if you go to those sessions, there's usually someone going around and correcting you. So you're kind of paying for it. You're sharing the PT, but you're paying them at the same time, aren't you?
But also, like, the thing I say about CrossFit that I love the most, like, is if you're the last person, like, in a WOD, everybody in that room claps you to the finish line.
I love that about it, yeah.
Like, there's just something so beautiful about that. Like, you think about tech sales or anything in life, right? Like, the last person, normally people are like, oh, you know, they're gone home, they're gone on their holidays, left the office. But, like, to stand there, not put away your bar, and clap that person to the line.
I made that mistake when I first went to CrossFit gym. I was putting my stuff away.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, you don't put anything away until the last person finished. I was like, I love that.
And that's, I think that's the thing I paid for anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Nice.
8 that time.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's the other thing when you train CrossFit and they don't have any music on.
I know.
And all you can hear is your breath and your mind saying, give up.
I was going to play around and have some music on this, but it might interfere a little bit.
That's how you separate the real killers in the gym.
Yeah, the guys that have got
silence.
I see those memes and it's like if you see a guy walking around with no headphones in, as a psychopath, like as a serial killer.
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
Nice. That's also the great thing about training, like with just 2 people as well, is that, you know, training by yourself, you never, at least I don't, push myself as hard as I know I can. Whether it's just less break time, putting on the extra weight, because then you only need one of you to be motivated that day.
Yeah, that's true.
And you both win, right? Which is having training partners, if you can't like go and do CrossFit, it's like really helpful.
Right. So then you came back from, I was going to ask you that, you came back from Dubai, you joined Go Cardless, right?
Yeah.
You joined as an IC.
Yes.
So what was that like? Because the role you was in, you worked for LinkedIn before.
Yeah.
Came back. So that was a...
Yeah, it was new business and existing business, so a bit of both, a bit of hybrid. But I'd left Dubai, obviously in the middle of COVID, and come back to Ireland to do my MBA. So obviously I'd like taken a year out of work to a full-time MBA. That had a cost associated to the actual course, and then the opportunity cost of not earning any money for the year.
Yeah.
Which, you know, all things considered, was a big hit to the bank account.
Yeah.
So like moving over to London then, I was really laser focused on like getting into Go Cardless and like really realizing the value of the MBA and trying to get a return on it as quickly as possible.
What was that transition like going from, I guess, Dubai to London?
Obviously, when you're out in Dubai, like LinkedIn is a satellite office, right? So when you're back here, you're in like, it's maybe a small office, but it's still the HQ, right? So you're close to the source, close to the CEO. I think just the speed and pace of London has been really eye-opening, and like, but if you want to come and like really put yourself against people that are hunting every day and want to be greater every day, this is the place to do it.
Yeah. Should I do you and do first set?
What are you going for?
Just use this warm-up set.
Yeah?
Just do like 10.
Cool. Make sure I'm not 6'2".
It's one of my favorite movements. Push press.
Shoulders used to be, but you know, I've stopped doing them as much because with jiu-jitsu, you don't want to have tight shoulders.
Really?
People put you in kimuras or arm bars, and
The shoulder can pop.
yeah, shoulder can pop. Then equally, shoulders then sore when you go into the gym the next day. So push press hasn't been quite what it used to be.
So at Go Cardless, how long was you in an IC role before you moved into a leadership position? Should put these fives on.
I think I was in there, God, I think it was like 16 months. No, maybe.
Was that always the plan to move?
Yeah.
When you joined and spoke in the interview process? Was
Yeah.
it?
I think like, so being over in Dubai, I was on the Irish Business Network. So like, it's a business network for all of anyone Irish in the UAE, and I was voted onto that board by like senior people in the Middle East. So like there was something ringing in my head about like, you know, maybe there's something in this about being a leader and people like having some gravitas that people connect with. And then when I went back to do my MBA, I was voted class rep, and I was like, okay, there's definitely, I think I should really start considering like leadership, but also really doing deep work into like why leadership, why is that for me, why is that aligned to my values and what I want to go and do. And so going over to Go Cardless, like that was in my mind. And like I always say to people, like clarity of thought is like clarity of direction. And like once you have a very clear direction of where you want to be, it's so much easier for people to buy into you. It's so much easier for them to back you. So much easier for them to open the doors for you to go. And like your career, like you also need to think about like a sales process as well, right? Like who are your champions? Who are the people in that room that are going to back you, support you, invest in you, and invest in the outcome of you? And I was lucky enough to find one or two champions in Go Cardless that like saw the potential in me and gave me the opportunity to go and realize that. Yeah, I think like it's difficult for some people when they're playing the IC role, they're going out for the team drinks, you know. Then all of a sudden a role comes up and people are saying, well, you know, here's a bit of the joker, right? Like, how are you going to make this shift now from being liked to being respected? And that's like this big transition thing. Like, are you going to be respected when you go into that role? And then when the time comes, like Machiavelli says, like life's about like fortune and skill. And I always say this story as well because I was like listening to this podcast with Bob Iger,
CEO of Disney.
Yeah,
his book's brilliant.
I think it's called Ride of a Lifetime.
Lifetime.
But they were saying to him like, what was this magic secret? How were you so successful? You know? And I'm like, here we go. You know, he's going to give us the answer. And he just said, when the door opened, I went through it. And like, I think there's a lot of times like the fortune and skill is like, you need to be doing the deep work, getting ready for it. But when that opportunity comes, you raise your hand and you go through the door, you know. I think people sometimes, they can't see it when it's in front of them. And having the clarity in where you want to go allows you to see those opportunities, you know, because like law of attraction or whatever you want to call it, like you start to attract those things into your life because that's what you're considering and that's what you're thinking about.
Yeah, sure. I love that. Yeah, I mean, there's a quote, I can't remember the quote, it's about taking opportunities. You might know it.
Which one?
It's about taking the opportunity at the right time.
Yeah.
You might not be ready, but taking it.
Yeah. Leaning into that, right?
Yeah.
I think like there's something around decision making. It's like if you know 80% of the answer, it's already too late, right? Just similar. It's like you want to be stretching yourself. I think there's also like this 85% rule when it comes to weightlifting. Have you heard of that? Like Hugh Jackman talks about it.
No.
And it's like when you're training, your coach says to you, like, this is 85% of your max. And then you hit it. And then they're like, that was actually 100% of your max. And just by virtue of like tricking your brain, you're able to exceed. Because like the mind is often the limitation, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think there's so many analogies you can take from the gym.
Yeah.
In life.
And sometimes I don't like using them. Like I don't like using football analogies or gym analogies. But there are so many messages in it.
Yeah.
You know, I was speaking to my wife last night and we were talking about running. We were just saying like, the great thing about running is there's zero excuse. Like the only thing you have to do is put your runners on and walk out your front door. That is like a metaphor for everything, right? Just begin, just step out the door, just raise your hand, whatever you want to say, right? Yeah. Lift one more rep. And I just try to live life through that, like that mindset. Like again, like wife always says, like when you're out, you're just always like, let's go one more. Let's do 2 more reps. Let's do 3 more reps. Then obviously, like you also need to
know when to stop.
And right, think about recovery, which is another huge piece around high performance, which we talked about, right?
Yeah.
How do you recover in the right way and go from high performance to recovery rather than survival to burnout?
So true. When you was in the IC role, then transitioning into a leadership position, you had to almost, I think you spoke about this before, your personal brand within the organization. So what brand did you build up? And did you have to build it? Like, do you have to recognize at some point that maybe my personal brand isn't what it needs to be a leader?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit easier for me this time around because I'd left my MBA and come into a new company. Okay. So walking in day one, I was like, I used to say this to people, don't behave for the role you're in now, behave for the role that you want to be in next, right? So like, how do you want people to describe you when you're not in the room? Do you want them to describe you as a person that's, you know, always has their admin, always has a point of view, comes prepared, has great insight? Or do you want to be the person that, oh, well, they go and hit their number every year, but like, I don't see them, they don't, you know, collaborate, they don't drive value. Yeah, lone wolf. And that like is really difficult for people because, you know, what got me here might not get me there. And the lone wolf serves you, but doesn't serve you going into leadership, right? It's actually almost the opposite. People always say, well, I'm not a leader, right? So like, how do I act like a leader without a title? And things that you can be, leadership is a choice, right? It's not a position. And you can do things like mentor, you can do things like join an ERG or for diversity inclusion. You can, you know, run group training sessions with people and share with them the skill set that you have. And all of those things say to people in the organization, this person can connect, this person people listen to when they speak, and like they want to deliver value across the team. So I just think there's so much that you can be doing, but you need to be mindful of why are you doing it, as in service of what.
I think it's something I'm transitioning myself because I never was a leader. I've said this in a couple of conversations on other episodes that I saw myself as quite a high performer in another organization I worked for. Then I set up on my own. I was still kind of that lone wolf because I was by myself for a period of time. and then it was hiring people, and then I'm still adapting. I'll admit, and my team watching this now probably say that I'm still adapting between being kind of that high-performing lone wolf to thinking about the team. Got much better over time, but I think it's probably something for a lot of AEs, isn't it? That moving into management, especially the top performers, because how many times have we seen it? The top performing AE gets moved into a leadership role. That doesn't mean they're necessarily right for the role.
No.
But maybe even they think they are because they're such a high performer. It's like, well, I should be a leader, you know? But telling someone how to do something is completely different to doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, and or showing them, right? Like the whole idea of like teach a man to fish, right? And like some people, they don't know what they know, right? So it's like this unconscious competence for like lone wolves. So then when it comes to teaching people, they don't know how to explain it. They don't know how to break it down into like bite-sized chunks. And it's tricky. And I often speak to people and you say like, where's next in your career? And they say, leadership.
Yeah.
You go, why? And you go, well, like I've done my IC and like leadership's the next natural step.
Yeah.
But what is it about leadership that you love? Like, well, I'm not, like, I'm good at my job. It's like, yeah, but like, what is it about leadership?
Yeah.
What is it about managing people? What is it about empowering people? What is it about listening to their stories and supporting them and leading from the front and being, you know, like unconditionally trying to help them, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I haven't really thought about this. Like, go and do that work. And you might find that there are things in there that really drive you to become a leader. But until you ask yourself the hard questions, you'll find yourself in that role. And you'll be like, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Nice. Push jerk.
Yeah. That's the fatigue coming in. Nothing like some gym camaraderie calling me out.
That's a no repping competition.
Yeah. Well, and then that's what accountability coaches are, you know.
Yeah,
so,
true.
but don't you worry, I'll be checking your form now, tit for tat. So you go to the gym and like you do all these reps, and then your friend turns around and says, "Oh, it's good that you've done 3 reps today."
What advice would you have for AE Conor? Oh, AEs currently now want to make that step up into leadership. If maybe they've mapped out 2025 as the year where they make that step up, or at least plant the seed within their superiors that they're a leader for next year, maybe.
I think like it comes back to your mindset first and foremost, right? Like do the work and understand the why behind it.
Yeah.
Once you have clarity on your purpose, your goals, then you can start to communicate them in a way that people resonate with. Then you need to think about like who are the champions in this organization that have influence and power, and they're going to willing to stand behind me. You can think about speaking to your leader and like if you're both aligned on that, thinking about a roadmap or plan to deliver against that. My idea is like, when you think about your next role, at least in my mind, obviously if you set the expectation, like when in the timeline does this work, you find what the gaps are and you work about delivering them and you get there and you're ready, right? The role's there and you're ready. You work on the gaps, you get there and there's no role there, but you're ready. Well, the third option is you get to the role and you're not ready. And that one, for me, is the one that's in your power, right? Like I'm happy to get there and there's a role, I'm happy to get there and there's not a role, but I'm not happy to get there and I'm not ready.
Yeah.
So like how can you check in all the time? How can you make sure that you're doing all of the right things that are like quantifiable, tangible outcomes to showcase that you've delivered on everything that you said you need to deliver on to become, or at least be ready for that next step into leadership. And then thinking about your brand as well, right? Like, 'cause there is this cross section of like, okay, how do I show up? And being in a role, not thinking about that and then thinking about it is difficult. Coming back to that, like liked versus respected.
Yeah.
But that's going to take this moment of like, hey, you know, I'm really serious about this next role now. I'm going to really focus on developing the right skill set in order for me to make that step. So, and you can get mentors outside of
Yeah, I was
work
going
as
to say
well.
like what would, because maybe someone doesn't know what those things are.
Yeah.
that they need to be prepared for?
Well, your leader should be able to support you with that, right? First and foremost. But I've also had some great mentors in my life that, just can give you a different perspective of outside of like the day-to-day work and can challenge your thinking in a way that maybe somebody internally can't, and call you out for maybe some of your looping or your spiraling or your negative self-talk. So I think it's great to have like this personal board of directors, right, in your life, like somebody that you can go to about work, somebody that you can go to about finance, and you can go talk about spirituality or whatever it might be, because not everybody can be everything to you, true, right? Yeah. And building out that network, I think, can be.
So do you have people like that in your life then? Do you have someone for finance? Do you have someone for...
Yeah.
How do you find them?
I think like naturally you find people in your friendship groups that have different skill sets. But then equally again, like this, like, okay, well, I know where my gaps are now. I know what I need to try and like plug in terms of like areas that I know are important but aren't maybe my core skill set.
Yeah.
So then you speak to somebody and they're like, I'm working in finance, or I've just been on a yoga retreat, and like that curiosity of like, whoa, talk to me about that. Like, and people are generally open to having those conversations with like-minded people who are trying to drive themselves to be better,
Of course, yeah. This episode is sponsored by 6 Sense. In sales, timing is everything. Too early, silence. Too late, lost deal. 6 Sense fixes that by helping sales teams find a pipeline that's ready to close. Powered by AI, 6 Sense pinpoints exactly which companies are in the market for your solution, what they care about, how to engage, so you can stop chasing dead ends and start building pipeline that moves fast. Sellers, you'll get laser-focused insights, discover who's on the buying team, what they've been researching, and get recommendations on the best next steps to create and accelerate deals. No more cold calls, no more guesswork, just high-intent leads and clear steps to win. Trusted by Clary, Sage, and Cisco, 6 Sense helps sellers save time, create more pipeline, and close bigger deals. Fuel your sales team with AI-generated pipeline at 6sense.com. It's AI that builds pipe, not hype. Yeah, because I want to build almost my, you call it a personal board of directors, I like that. But it's just where to find people. I think if I ask myself now, I do know people that are really good at finance. So why not ask them? I want to maybe purchase a property soon. And I know people who are brilliant at property, so speak to that person. So yeah, maybe I'm thinking of, I need this mentor to be this top dog of something, but maybe it's just, someone said to me the other day, is like, to find mentors, look at someone, or find someone who's 12 months from where you are now, and then find someone who's 3 years from where you are now. I know those people, so.
When you think about it like champion building as well, though, like you think about deposits before withdrawals, right? So like what value can I provide to these people, right? Like, and maybe they're great at finance, but they're not running their own business.
True.
Maybe they're great at, like they're doing a lot of spiritual work, but they're not good at building their personal brand for their own business.
True, yeah.
So there's always things that you can deliver. Maybe it's PT, I want to go on a fitness journey, right? Hey, why don't we go do a workout once a week for an hour?
Yeah.
I'll get you in shape. You talk to me about how I can be better with my finances.
Yeah.
Now it's like this two-way
exchange.
Of value.
Because you do say sometimes what's in it for the mentor.
Yeah. And that's what you show up prepared. You send over the agenda beforehand.
Yeah.
You follow up with your learnings. You follow up with how you try to deliver those learnings and what the feedback was or how it went, because that's all insight back to the mentor who's generally doing it to become a better either coach, mentor, leader.
They learn by teaching you.
Exactly, right? But they don't learn unless you give them the right feedback, right? So
True.
Being able to have that loop for them, a feedback loop for them to learn is like super valuable.
You're the calisthenics guy.
You're putting me, yeah.
So you show me a ring
Show
dip.
you bad form, yeah. All my calisthenics people will be looking at me.
10 ring dips, 10 pull-ups.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of the things about rings is that it takes a lot of stabilization of the core. So I wouldn't try this straight away for some people. But it's normally just getting into this position and really driving the core in and then driving up. 1, 2, 3, 5.
Nice.
You put me straight into a superset?
Yeah.
God.
Of course.
Burn the biceps out and then straight into pull-ups. Up.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice.
You should put that on repeat 4 times. And
So,
lock the arm out if you can, the elbow, yeah, that's it. And then down, yeah, and up, nice. This is also the great thing about training people in the gym. It's like some people will just share with you different workouts that just work fast twitch a little bit differently, or different muscle groups in a different way.
yeah, because I think when you train by yourself, it's so easy just to do what you're good at.
Yeah.
It's like thrusters in CrossFit.
Yeah.
I hate them. So I'd never do them unless I was in a session.
You're a leg crosser when it pull-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah. Calisthenics people always tell me now to do that.
Okay, I'll go back.
I'll tell you why. So your feet should be in front of you. And the reason, exactly, you know why? It's the core then becomes engaged.
Yeah.
When you start to cross your legs.
Yeah, okay, it's on the back.
Yeah. So actually, like, just being in that position is going to keep this core like almost like a gymnast.
Yeah, okay.
And you're going to be in like a hollow body rock position.
I was going to say it's almost like the
front
the rock.
lever.
Yeah, the rock, yeah.
Yeah. Or yeah, rock.
Rocking, what are they called again?
Well, yeah. God,
Is it hollow rocks?
hollow body rocks.
Hollow rocks.
There you go. And the same with the feet out in front. Rather than by putting them behind, it's going to go into my lower back.
Nice.
And the goal with the pull-ups then is like, you can start to move into front levers or your muscle ups.
Muscle ups, yeah. Can you do muscle ups?
Not anymore. Well, I wouldn't attempt it. Chicken wings.
It's probably not fair me asking you straight after a superset, but you said you had leadership fundamentals when we spoke before.
Yeah.
You said foundation of trust, being candid, and setting the standard. Setting the standard and defining the standard.
Yeah.
What do you mean by those? Is that something you created yourself or you've taken from?
I think I've taken them from all of my experience, everything that I've read, and then try to like align it to my values. And like every organization I've ever been in will talk to you about trust. But like, what are you doing to really build trust? And like, I know there's a whole argument around, we're not a family, stop saying we're families, and, these cycles of redundancies. But fundamentally, I believe if you really set the clear expectation with the people who are joining your team about what it is you want to go achieve, what your values are, what the goals are, and then you stay consistent with that message, people they'll have bought into it at the start, because if not, then it's the wrong fit, and we need to really qualify out at that point. But if we buy into it and we ask each other for permission to go and deliver on these goals, then we can all hold each other accountable. So for example, last week I got all my team into a room to present. It's just to our team around like their values, their personal why, their goals for the year, and what they expect from the team. That expectation from the team is to say, I'm going to get in this boat and I'm going to row, but my expectation is everybody else at least gives it 100% effort. And we're all aligned and we're all going to hold ourselves to this standard. So that for me is super important, that we keep going back to that. Like quarterly or whatever, I always bring up the values that I stand by. And then you set that standard and you say, okay, this is what we all agree to. We all agree that this is the standard we want to set. And then you defend that standard. So as soon as it drops from anybody, and I don't want to be the person that calls that out, right? Because there's moments where I'm saying, hey, my form's a little bit weak here. And you're going to say to me, hey, you can do a bit better here. And like really the goal for me is that we become self-governed, like that we push each other like we would any team would, right? I think in football, manager's not in the middle of the pitch, right? Everyone's a leader on the pitch. So, and Jocko Willink says, I always say this, is like, leadership is not what you preach, it's what you tolerate. And for me, it's like leaders need to walk their talk to bear the standard, or to be the standard bearer, you need to first bear the standard, right? So I don't do anything or ask him anything that I won't do myself. And then we all do that together.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's helped us as a team to go and deliver great things because we know we're in it together. We know that we challenge each other and we have radical conversations or brave conversations.
That's the being candid bit.
Be candid in service of being better.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you say to me, Conor, mate, I know you can train hard. Today, you're having a bit of an off day and you're slowing me down going through the reps. Like that's the easier path for you is just to say, I'm not going to say it. He's just having a bad day. But actually you saying that to me is like, yeah, you're right, man. I can't push myself. And that's what...
And also me saying that to you as well, it gives me almost like, I can't go and do it now.
Yeah.
Now I've just told Conor that he can't slack or drop his standards. So it's almost reframing my mind to also like, I can't drop my standards as well because look how stupid I'd look if I'm telling you one thing and I'm not doing the same. So.
And it's a virtuous cycle.
Yeah, it's just...
We're all pushing each other up and that's the rising tide lifts all ships.
Yeah.
Like when I rise, you rise. When you rise, we all rise. And that's what we need to constantly go back to. I just think there's so much in values, in standard setting, in candor, and then just like effort, right? Like all I ever ask is that we give 100% effort and we push ourselves. And at the end of the day, we celebrate our own success and we celebrate the people around us, to use that CrossFit analogy.
Yeah.
If you're the first one over the finish line, you turn around, you reach back with your hand and you lift that person up off the floor, you know? But yeah, like values can't just be something written on a wall. They have to be lived every day in your actions, right? It's like, yeah, it's what they say, the truth is rarely heard and often seen, or often seen and rarely heard, which is to basically say that, walk your talk, right? It's not what people are going to say.
Yeah.
It's what they do.
That clip with The Last Dance, I'm sure you watched it. Michael Jordan.
No, I haven't actually.
Well,
no.
I feel I'll be right up your street.
Gotta do everything, mate. Prioritization.
You used to watch it. I'm sure you heard of it.
Yeah.
And there's a bit when he's talking about, he's quite hard on his teammates. But he's like, listen, I never asked anyone to do anything that I didn't basically want to do.
Yeah.
That's how it was. If you don't like it, you can't be part of the team. It's quite hard. So I'll send you the clip. It's a good clip.
But people, A players, people with ambition, why do they leave companies? They leave companies because they don't want to be around average. They want to be in a meritocracy.
Yeah.
And so when you come and you're in a team and the standard drops, it's a slippery slope for everybody. And then 6 months later, people say, oh, I'm leaving. It's like, why? Thing doesn't show up. Why am I doing the work and they're not doing the work?
Yeah.
I come prepared, they don't.
Yeah.
It's just like, make sure it never drops.
I speak to A's all the time and the top performers a lot of the times. You do think, why are you leaving? They're on target, hitting target, making money. Why do you want to leave them? And it's usually something's dropped within the culture, the leader's not right. And it's obviously because they expect the best. And if they're not getting that, they might be able to thrive in that, might be able to deliver in that environment, but maybe not thriving where they want to. And they probably want to be surrounded by other people like them.
Well, it's like going to a gym and saying, you can only ever lift 60 kg, never more.
Yeah.
And you can only ever do it in this time cap. You can't go any lower. People are going to get bored because they'll get stronger, they'll get faster. And it's like, the British cycling team, it's like, it never gets easier, you just go faster. And that's the kind of thing with CrossFit, right? And WODs. It's like, they used to be dying in 8 minutes in the WOD, now they're dying in 4 minutes in the WOD.
Yeah.
They've still done the same amount of reps and still equally as hard. They've just went a lot quicker.
Yeah, I always say that, like, it never gets easier.
Yeah.
You just get better at dealing with the pain. So we've got cardless then. When you first went into management, the numbers on your LinkedIn, the team was a high-performing team, right?
Yeah.
Was it one of the highest in the business?
Yeah, so we had 3 emerging teams at the time when I first joined in. We had 2 enterprise. So obviously there's like different attainments and different targets. But I think like we always showed up in the right way. Also had to build a brand new team from scratch. So we were trying to like ramp, learn, sell, do everything whilst also trying to hit the number.
Yeah.
And I think like what it came down to is like hiring really great people, building the right high performance culture, building like this shared vision of what the team is going to be, being a brand new team to the organization, new people in the team, like what is it we want to be known for, and then just like getting into the field with them and just, I think like one thing that I believe in is like that continuous, obviously, like education and supporting your teams. We did a lot of coaching, a lot of team together. Like every Wednesday we would do something, either we would do a deal review or we a specific topic right around like metrics or champion building or implicating pain, and just like focusing religiously on getting better, you know? And I think that served us a lot.
Just on that then, so like I want to implement more coaching with my team.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we just get caught up in the whole fast-paced, you know, we just got to do, we got to do.
Yeah.
But I think you do need to stop and put those coaching sessions in. Like, how often were you doing them? So you said every Wednesday.
Yeah, so one-to-ones obviously every week.
Yeah.
And then as a team, we do every Wednesday, just our team.
What would be how do you choose a topic?
So I think like, because this team's new by and large in the organization, like we kind of can start off with the fundamentals, like what are the standards 1 week, then there might be like, how do we do effective discoveries? How do we implicate the pain? How do we look at champion building? It might be something top of mind where I'm like, I'm seeing across this week that we're like not putting upfront contracts or upfront commitments in our discos. And then when we get to the end, we're not getting the next steps in because nobody really aligned or understood what it was we were trying to achieve and what the next steps would look like if we achieved those. It might be that we're just not being credible enough in front of our champs. So how do we think about our product? How do we think about our industry? But over time, how I see that evolving and how it evolved at Go Cardless is that you get to this like baseline of like, okay, we're good now. I would like then where the team members pick the topic and the person that maybe is the best at that topic comes in and they deliver it. Cool. So then they're working on their presentation skills, their leadership skills, they're delivering coaching, right? And like they're taking ownership. So like you'll be just have a map and like this week you're going to Europe. What's your topic? Next week Europe. This is your topic. You come prepared. You ask the team to come prepared with whatever they need. And that's how I see it over time. But at the start, it's a bit more the bulk strategic stuff, then tactical what I'm seeing, and then this evolution.
Cool.
That's how
I use that then, because there's always stuff top of mind.
Yeah.
I'll get the kettlebells. We'll do the gorilla row. Yeah, there's always something top of mind.
And sometimes that can be digested in just an email or a voice note, you know? Like some organizations which I've toyed at is that you do your top of minds you can do your top of minds in a video on a Monday morning, right?
Yeah.
Like a 3 to 5 minute video. This is my top of mind for the week. This is my priorities. This is the goals. And then everybody's aligned to them. And you can also ask your team to send them over to you too. Like, these are my priorities. This is what's top of mind for me in terms of where I need to be focusing on. And you can all make sure that you're all feeding up to this common goal. Because you might say, well, why is that your priority for the week? If this is what my priority is, right? Or this is what the organization's priority is. I think that's a good way of doing it. But yeah, I also like being able to deliver that in a bit of a coaching session.
So you said you've done these. I'll just show you like this.
Yeah.
Are you keeping your hips out? Back, gorilla row. You go first.
And then
superset with this.
What's this?
Bicep curl.
Okay, cool. So we're going straight over, single.
Put your legs wider, bit wider, almost like a sumo squat.
Okay.
Back nice and straight. And you just pull them with each arm. Yeah. Keep your chest down. Nice.
Are you trying to weaken all my lats for this ski? Bicep curls are so old school.
Yeah. They look good on camera.
That's why we're here.
That's why I wore a tank top.
Yeah, I knew what you were doing. You also went to the gym before this, right?
No, don't say that. It was just a warm up. Nice. So we kind of touched on it there with an AE trying to move into leadership. Obviously, a lot of it they've got to take their own self-development into their own hands. You're massive on self-development.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why have you always been that way? You even did the MBA as well.
Yeah. I don't think I was always that way. I think I had a bit of a life-changing moment, like when I was younger, and I was going down maybe the wrong route. Wasn't really like focusing in school. Didn't really have a direction that I wanted to go in. Kind of had this moment of clarity to say like, there's more to life, you know? You can achieve more, and like, you've got potential, but like, you're never gonna realize you're doing this. Mm-hmm. And it just like sparked this thing in me to be like, I'm gonna go to university, I'm gonna do my degree, I'm gonna do my master's, I'm gonna move to Dubai, I'm gonna work, and I'm gonna just try and get better. And like the thing about learning, it's just so beautiful, like in so many ways. Like when I think about it, it's like some parts of it is the mundaneness of it. It's just like reading a book because you're disciplined, right? Like there's just discipline in it, and like I'm gonna finish this book, and the endorphins of completing something. Mm-hmm. There's also like this intellectual curiosity to just go and want to learn more. You can get on the internet, you can go on Google, you can find anything you want now, but you can still also go to your local library and read a book, true. You know? Yeah. And just by virtue of take nobody's word for it, follow your curiosity. You read one book, when you read that, go, what would be the opposite of this? Find that book, then read that. And then try and find the truth somewhere in between those things, you know? Because just being curious in general opens your world to so many things. Me and you probably wouldn't be talking today if I didn't have those, I wasn't showing my books, right? Because people can be like, well, I can connect on one of those books, right? Like people have a conversation, you go, I've read something on this, look, let me ask something about economics or like Keynesian versus Hayek. And people go, oh, wow, right? And then you go, I'm not an expert, but I'm curious, right? Yeah. And I just think like people waste their potential, people waste the opportunity to learn. Like if you're not growing, you're dying, right? And I just encourage everybody, find your passion, find what interests you, and follow your curiosity, because it opens up so many doors.
Yeah. And I think like what you're saying basically, it's not just professionally as well. It opens up doors in all aspects of life.
But you can follow that curiosity in your fitness as well, right? Like you said, you're going to try jiu-jitsu now. Yeah. You've done CrossFit, running, whatever it might be. It's just being open to it and like not scared of failure, not scared of not knowing. I think Matthew McConaughey, which is always a strange one to quote from a leadership perspective, he says like humility is knowing that you have more to know. Yeah. And like that for me is like, wow, like I can just, there's more, like
there's always more to know.
Yeah, the more I know, the more I don't know. And that's the thing that keeps driving me. Nice.
So what was the book challenge that you did? You read one book a week. For how long?
Oh, God. I think 4 years, basically. And it didn't start off like that. It wasn't a challenge. So in January, was that 2021 almost, I think? My brother, for my birthday presents, sent me 12 books to my house. Yeah. And I was thinking, what is this guy doing? You know, like, why has he sent me 12 books to read for my birthday? Like, give me something, but not 12 books, because that's a lot of time, you know? And I said, okay, I'm just going to try read one book a month. For 12 months, that's it. Like, I'll be really happy with that. And like, I'll start off with like 30 minutes a day. I'll get it. So first book took me 2 weeks. Second book took me a week. Third book took me like a half a week, basically. And I'd read like 4 or 5 books in the first month. And I was like, I can kind of keep this pattern going now. And then I was just reading like a book a week, every week then.
That's mad.
And it was just, I just like, people like, where did you find the time? And I was like, I was finding the time on the train to work. I was coming, like if I wasn't in the office that day, I was going to the gym at 6, coming home at 7:15 and reading till 9. Or I was, like Netflix was gone in the evening. I was reading at night, you know? And it's like, you can just swap that time into reading time. And like somebody said, like that return on reading is like, sometimes it takes people, you know, their whole life to write an autobiography.
Yeah.
And they place all of these lessons into this book. And you can read that book in like 8 to 12 hours. 20 years of experience in 8 to 12 hours of reading. That seems to me like pretty decent ROI.
Yeah.
Even outside of autobiographies, right? Like intellectual books, or they're still taking 2 years of research.
Of course, yeah.
And condensing it into 400 pages.
Yeah.
And you're reading that in 2 or 6 to 8 hours maybe. So I just think like that's a bit of a growth hack, life hack, you know?
I'm going to ask you some tips on what I can do different.
People always, you do your bicep curls, you know? They say to you, that's some great back curls you just did. Nice. Strong.
We'll make this the last set, guys, because we need to get onto the other stuff. Are your top 5 books that you've read? I was going to ask you top 5 books on sales. Well, that's just top 5 books that you've read.
Yeah.
That you'd recommend to anyone.
It's a great question, you know, and I have people reach out to me on LinkedIn all the time asking me that question. And I'm like, I don't really know the answer to give you, but when I think about it, I think about them in ways of like, what do I reference the most?
Yeah.
And what books like served me in a moment in my life, you know? And I think like Nassim Taleb's, any of Nassim Taleb's books, like Skin in the Game, Black Swan, Anti-Fragile, they'll all just get you thinking about things in different ways. Like, and there's kind of like, you can also think of Shane Parrish's Great Mental Models. It's kind of just like a way of viewing the world and having a model to think about things, right?
Yeah.
So like, I recommend, they're not the easiest of reads, and like sometimes you've read 10 pages and you go, I don't remember any of them, I need to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
But you will leave with something to say like, okay, I've learned something here.
Okay.
I think spiritually, Ram Dass, Be Here Now, was like a huge book for me in a moment in time to just be like, a quote that I always say outside of that is like, I can do nothing but work on me, and you can do nothing but work on you. It's effectively just saying like, you keep doing the deep work, and by virtue of doing the deep work, you'll elevate people in your life and they'll meet you where they are and where you are, more importantly, right? Yeah. And like the more you do, the more you push yourself, again, this rising tide, I can connect with people because I've thought about things deeper than maybe some people have.
Yeah.
It's also like they're sometimes the storms you have to go through, but also you'll meet your people, right, at the end of it.
Yeah.
The 5 a.m. club was like a place where it just changed my mindset into like, if I get up early in the morning and I train at 6 to 7, I can go and read. And I think that was really what helped my reading journey. Like,
it's quite interesting reading. It's like a story, but it's
yeah.
I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to be Robin Sharma telling you how to get up at 5 a.m.
Yeah. Set your alarm clock. Yeah. I think it's just that story of like, yeah, like, you know, when you Saturday morning, you get up at like 8 a.m. and you're walking around and you're like, everybody's still in bed.
Yeah.
They're hungover.
It's a nice feeling.
You know, I've got my workout done, I've read, I've had my coffee.
And you've got the whole day left.
Yeah.
And you've worked on yourself, and I love it.
So, yeah, I love that. And I think the Ryan holidays, the obstacle is the way. Like during COVID, like when the world was upside down, I just reflected on that book a lot, and it was
I think you've got the discipline one as well.
Discipline is destiny, and it's just basically like sometimes the obstacle in the path is the path. You know, sometimes you just have to go through it. There's no other way around it, and like that to me is like hard work is hard work. And I think like spending more time just in the like sometimes action solves a lot of things, right? So yeah, Nassim Taleb, Be Here Now, Discipline is Destiny, or The Obstacle is the Way, the 5 a.m. Club, and then my last one, I would probably go with Legacy. The All Blacks.
I've got it. I've started it, and I'll admit I didn't finish it.
I think like it's like again like some people are, like you can read a book. I think one of yours was The One Thing, right? And I can't remember any of that, but I referenced it so many times to say like, well, what's the one thing, right? So you can read this book and be like, I didn't really enjoy that, but I took one thing, and that's enough. Right. And legacy for me was like, what do you want your legacy to be? And equally, how can you prepare to work really effectively in high pressure environments? And that comes through like preparation, discipline, having composure in the moment. You see that in like the tail end of deals when you want it so bad and you're super nervous and you haven't asked the right questions, you've got happy ears. They say, yeah, I'll get back to you next week. And you're like, okay, thank you so much, bye. And then it's like, you come to me and you go, they said to get back to me next week. When next week? I don't know. Who's getting back to you next week? I'm not sure. Right, so it's like having that composure in the moment to just be reflective and calm and be like, read the room, you know. So they're probably the ones that I've picked the most.
I'll make sure I finish that then.
Right, so what are you going to do to me on this?
So it's 12 calories. Sorry, actually no, it was 9 calories on here, 12 burpees, 15 American kettlebell swings. Leave it there. Nice.
That really got the heart rate going.
Whew. Rest up. You got. Maybe not fair making you do this next.
What they say, fitness is the speed of your recovery.
It is, yeah. Right. Before we get kicked out, you've got the last thing to do, Conor. It's the 30 seconds max Carl ski test. The leaderboard is going to come on the screen now. I think.
What is the top? You're not telling me?
The top is 16 calories.
16?
16, yeah. By Lewis.
In 30 seconds.
Yeah, Lewis Kwache, who was a beast. So 30 seconds, as hard as you can, on you. Ready?
3, 2, 1, go.
Nice, Conor. Let's go. Everything you've got, leave it all out. Leave it all out there, come on. 10 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, come on. 2, 1. You want to see the camera? 16. He's matched the top. Nice one. How was that?
Feeling the legs.
He's almost jumping up. That's a good effort, man.
Whew. I'm pulling over 2,000.
Yeah, that was a good effort. I think it's stopped on 1976. I think you hit over 2,000 at one point.
Have that, is it mercury in the back of the throat?
I won't ask you any more questions then. I'll just thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks.
That was a great episode.
Thank you.
Appreciate the insight into the self-development and just how you got to where you are. I think it's a really interesting story as well. And I love like all the stuff you mentioned. I think you've got loads of quotes that I'm looking forward to watching back and taking note of.
Yeah.
And in those books, I'll make sure I order them as well. And finish Legacy.
I think books are like, they give you mental models or little things to dial into, but like, you know, expressions or, you know, hard work is work, or, and they're mottos, you know, for you to just keep reminding yourself of. But yeah, appreciate nothing better than having some intellectual stimulation while also ripping me in the workout. Maybe not a 2-hour workout before the ERG next time. Thanks, mate.
Good, man.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, guys. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you.